All right, I'm out of breath. I had to go say hi to cows. There's a couple calves over there that are really curious. They've, seen me a couple times now. I decided to walk over there and, say hi. I didn't get close, but they came up to the edge of the fence and sniffed the air, and that was good enough for me. I just, it's cold out there. I'm out of breath because I'm, going from hot weather down to this in just a couple days it's pretty intense how I'm just not acclimated to it. So yeah, I'm shivering here. But I'm not the only one. Everybody I saw who has come out here, come and gone, have, all dressed the same. It's a chilly day, even for the travelers. I mean, it's been hot, I guess, pretty much everywhere, but some crazy lightning. There was some crazy lightning with this storm. And being as dry as Colorado is, especially out here, and being not familiar with all the roads, I mean, everything pretty much just crisscrosses, straight shots, but, there are a few zigzagging like what got me here. But being not familiar with it, if, there is a grass fire or something like that, and, it's an emergency situation where I'm smoked out and got to get out of here. It's situations like that I worry about, and I have good map books, good maps, so they're all current. I always keep current. Sometimes you run across a situation where they become useless or they're just inaccurate, and I try to take note and make sure other people in the area know and aware that there is something different about such and such map versus actuality. Starting to catch my breath. God. See, I feel so much better just out here than stuck in Southeast Aurora, Centennial, Inglewood, Denver, just that whole general area. Is just like, I'm done with people. I'm done with the city. I mean, I'm not done. I'm just, it's not me. I have a country heart. I mean, I'm a city boy, grew up city, it is what it is, but I have a country heart. I have a gypsy heart. I have, I just feel like being nomadic. I mean, I guess you could say it's in my blood with my dad being a, lifelong truck driver practically. So, of course, I have difference in opinions on what it is for me. Everything's personal. Everything about this is personal. It's, it's part of my growth. It's part of my healing process. It's part of discovery. I mean, since I started vandwaling, it's literally been the biggest eye-opener of my life, You really don't know how it is around the city until you've been in the gutters. I've been on the streets, not in Colorado, but I've been on the streets. And being out of the vehicle, you see a lot of what the media doesn't express, or what people are really familiar or aware of about the homeless population, and even the mindsets of one van dweller to the next. It's all about perception. I mean, I don't consider myself homeless. Not in the least. You know, I work, I pay my taxes, I got a roof over my head, warmth, you know, I would say air conditioner, but unfortunately that's not something I'm equipped with. I use a little cheap Walmart fan. It can be rough. 105 degrees Thursday. I'm sorry. I even got off work early and it was miserable. I mean, sitting in here was just like, wow, I'm dying. Sometimes it's you know, there's a lot about this life that is the same but different from the sticks and bricks. When I say sticks and bricks, for people who aren't familiar with the term, I mean home, like houses, apartments, things made out of sticks and bricks. Sticks and bricks. I've had my home referred to as a giant metal coffin. Okay, so it's all a matter of perspective. You know, some people like their sticks and bricks. Some people look at the van as a giant metal coffin, you know, but I look at it as home. I look at it as opportunity. I look at it as adventure. I look at it as a new life, a new perspective. You know, it's and then seeing how the world really is from the gutter up. I mean, I don't come from money. I have never had a lot of money. You know, even when I started into my adult life and working and had a career, and you know, it never added up above, you know, the economical demand. It was just, it's not. People say the economy gets better. Who the hell is it getting better for? I don't get it. You know, it doesn't get better for the people at the bottom. I mean, I see it day to day, you know, and that perspective, that draining feeling from how people are treated in the positions, you know, most being victim of circumstance, you know, not the media hype of drugs and alcohol and, you know, stupid crap like that. I mean, that's 10% of what you see on the main city streets. Most people don't realize their family-friendly shopping center, their grocery store, their Walmart, their, you know, any parking lot with a fucking group of trees, they got people staying and living out of those nationwide. You know, people, it's everywhere. You know, I've seen it so many places where, you know, people just, they can't afford to live. They can't afford to live by the social standards, the, you know, the acceptable, you know, I want to call it the American dream, the acceptable American dream, but it's not a dream. It's enslavement. That's something I'm not going to get into. I have very strong opinions on how this nation is. It's not going well, in my opinion, and it's not going to get better. Anyway, let me stop. I got a visitor here. So I'm running out of light here. I don't have a whole lot of time. I'm already running out of juice. I got about an hour of film time. That's all this recording video, you know. I get maybe a couple hours at a time. But, yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, I had a visitor, the person who came through, lady with a teardrop camper. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. I may have mentioned that. It circled through here. I guess she's parked up the hill somewhere. I didn't realize she was out here. Came strolling through to use, you know, the outhouse, and I introduced myself and, you know, we discussed really quick
about the dispersed camping, the legality of it, if, you know, it's okay to be out here. And, you know, both of us agree that, you know, there's no regulation stating we can't do it. Uh, so we're both here, you know. You know, there are campgrounds, or at least a campground somewhere out in the grasslands. I don't know exactly where it is. I didn't come out here for that. I can't imagine. It would be extremely expensive, but I don't see it being, you know, within my budget right now. I'm pretty broke. I actually got out here and I don't have enough gas to get back. Hopefully, I have enough gas to at least get me to a gas station. I don't know what the closest gas station is. That's one of those other issues when you run out of GPS. I don't know if I'm getting sound recording. I have earphones in, you know, plugged in, but let me take that out real quick.
So I don't know if that had been recording sound because of the earphones, but you know, if it has, so be it. But yeah, anyway, I have very little money right now just because of all the circumstances, all the, you know, bumps in the road that I've been hitting. And, you know, I decided, screw it, I'm coming out here. If I break down, I break down. I run out of gas, I run out of gas. You know, I do have roadside assistance, roadside coverage, so, you know, I unfortunately can't make a phone call from where I'm at. I can, you know, walk, you know, it may be a half a mile down trail, where you kind of get between the Buttes and a straight shot to Grover, Colorado. I don't know that there's an actual tower out in Grover, but that's the closest straight shot I can imagine between the Buttes. And I actually picked up service there. And, you know, if there is an emergency situation I have to call in, you know, I can, you know, walk half mile up that way, up the trail. And I am not worried. I have no fear being out here. You know, there are small concerns, you know, like the storm and everything. Uh, I knew the storm was coming. When I walked that trail, I knew between 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock it was predicted to have, you know, thunderstorms roll through. Now, I got here at 11:30 a.m., and it was overcast the entirety of the drive. Has been all morning, you know, even in Denver. And when I got out here, it was no exception. I sat around for 2 hours till 1:30, you know, contemplating whether or not I even wanted to attempt walking, which was the procrastination that took away from my return trip time. Um, that's some of the things that it goes through my mind. I understand the weather, and especially out in places like this, after actually coming here and seeing it's not just some flat plains, grass, and cows everywhere. You know, it can be dangerous. I don't know if I'll add it or, you know, share it with everybody, but in one of my earlier videos, I had suggested walking back one of the water runoff trails that go just below the main trail. But it's a perfect trail. I mean, it works. It's a cut groove through all the rock, going the low route. The only problem is if you're stuck in a rainstorm, that's probably not the safest place to be. So I decided not to go. I did say that if it doesn't look like rain, I would take that as a shortcut through. You know, also get some new footage or pictures of that segment. But I decided, since it did start to sprinkle, that storm started rolling through. It took me an hour to get back. Took me a couple hours to get there, simply because there was a lot of stop and go, a lot of video. But the return trip, I was, I snapped a few pictures and I took off. Those clouds came in very menacingly and very quickly. And when the wind kicked up, I was like, it's time to go. I got to get out of here. If it starts hailing, I have no protection. I had my backpack. And I do think these through a little bit. There's not a lot of protection out here on the plains. When you're out in the flat segments and stuff like that, it's rolling hills. You're not going to have protection. There's no trees out here. I don't even recall running across a single tree. Maybe small junipers. Junipers are not good for shade. If you know anything about them damn things, you don't want to go sitting in them. You don't want it's a pain in the ass, and they breed all kinds of nasty insects you don't want to mess with. Landscape construction. Sorry, I deal with junipers. I hate junipers. Yeah, no shade, no protection. Luckily, with all the rock features and buttes and fallen parts and little crevices and all that kind of stuff like that, I would have hugged up to one of the sides, threw that backpack over my face, and taken it like a champ. That's the best I can do. Hope for the best. Sometimes you got to sacrifice that comfort zone to live. When you're stuck in that mind frame of no change, no experience, no new experience, no fresh experience, you become stagnant. It becomes, it's just day in, day out, basically waking up to do the same old, to go back to sleep and do the same old, and just over and over and over and over, and that's why I left that. I still got time. I don't have much light. I can't run my van due to gas. I don't want to bleed my battery dry. My battery jump starter is bone dry. I have no energy. So if that dies, I basically have to rely on somebody else coming through here, or even, go up the hill and find wherever she parked. I don't know where she's at over there, but we'll do this because I'm not done. I'm gonna. Oh. All right, let's turn the camera here. Take this off. My hat hair. You can probably see towards the back of my van, it is a freaking mess. I've got a lot of clutter back there. Side shelves, which are, like basically U-shapes around the back and side there, and then 6 foot long bed. I'm good. It's very comfortable for me. I've never had any issues with it. Let's see if we can do that instead. That's better lighting. That's better lighting. I can't drain the batteries too much. I was at Walmart and they got these little cheap battery lights. Okay, I'm constantly. I'll tell you something about the van life. A lot of trial and error. There is a lot of trial and error. I'm sorry. I can explain it 1,000 different times how it is to live in a van, how it is to be a nomad, an urban nomad. But you can never really expect what it's going to really be, because it's always different. There's always something. There's, it's trial and error. What's going to work best for you? What's going to work, most productively. And one of my biggest things is lighting. I don't have lighting that I want. I'm always going cheap, inexpensive. You know, I've done the little button ones. I got one of those on my ceiling. Little LED, oh, excuse me. Kind of low energy saving battery usage on that one. I've upgraded that 3 different times to 3 different button press ones. I finally broke down and I bought, you know, also a lantern one, battery operated. When I first started the van dwelling, I had some solar ones, some solar top, you know, lanterns, and they were great. I got it. It actually came with the van. You know, the first van I bought from a couple of hippies out of California who, you know, had been traveling across the country, and you know, the girl was about to go back to where her family's from, out of country, England, I think it was. And you know, so there's a few incentives that came with it. I had some lighting. I had some things that would have been, you know, a little costly, especially with everything I was putting into that van at that time. It was a big project. But lighting has always been a thing. But anyway, I was at Walmart last night, 11 o'clock last night. And, you know, kind of getting a few things for this little drive. I decided last night, well, screw it. I'm going to take the risk and come out here. And if I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. But I ran across, they look like wall switch, turn, you know, on off wall switch. The whole panel was a light, really bright. I mean, one of those would fill my entire back of lighting for $3 or $3.50 or $4, somewhere in between there. That 3 and some change, you know, the magic money